going to need some time and space. We're going to need some time to heal, to make sense of what exactly all of that was. If we were involved in it for any period of time, maybe we're just visiting somewhere. We're like, oh, wait, we see flags, we're going to continue on. Wonderful. But it's not the time. And I've absolutely had these conversations with my family before, with my immediate family, where we found ourselves, kind of in this or that. And it's like, we know we're not going to get anywhere in this conversation. There's maybe been some attempts. We've seen the responses, and we've just got to back away. We don't need to blow it up. We don't want to blow it up. And it's not out of fear. Now, if you have some fear, that is fair. I am not coming at you having some fear. I would have so much empathy for that. Yes. It can be really scary to do. Okay. And there could be genuine things to be afraid of, like the slander and like the gossip and like losing jobs and losing communities, and maybe children stay when parents go, or vice versa. There's so much that goes into this. So very much a nuanced one-on-one kind of conversation, and those kinds of details and specifics. And yet bigger picture, absolutely. We have to be able to remove ourselves and then give ourselves some time to get our feet under us and to feel what we need to feel too. Probably some grieving. There may be some anger, just a part of grieving. There could be a lot that goes on. So again, it doesn't mean for any of you who'd be listening to this and be like, well, that sounds passive, Josh. That sounds passive. Does, like, right? We need to go to bat. There's a reason, right? There's a reason we're not doing that in this kind of structure when we have to get ourselves out.
Yeah. No, and it does sound so passive. It does. But I mean, I've been with organizations, heard HR, I've spoken at places where HR is still trying to figure out how to hire a diagnosable, horrible narcissist, someone who's even verbally, physically at times, hurting people. I've seen organizations that are barely able to let go of someone who's hurting children physically or sexually. And so if that's where we're actually at in 2025, is we can barely get rid of someone who's doing those kind of black and white things, then why in the world would a system that's going to be more nuanced, that one person's going to be a bit of an enforcer, the other one's going to be passive aggressive, like, you see how we're just smoke and mirrors and all this. And so I think in many ways it's our own values, our own, like, I just want to be someone who stands up for others, are then being misallocated to a situation that would be so unlikely to change. And that's something that I think is important to note too, is an organization. If you're in an organization, maybe you're in leadership and you're listening to some of this and you're saying, oh my gosh, I think our organization is kind of narcissistic. It will cost more time and energy and money and self-reflection than almost all organizations are willing to put in to change the organization. And I've rarely seen it happen. I have seen it, but it's so much effort, so much for a place to really change from the inside out and to actually become a safe and healthy organization. So if you're not one of those key people, please don't waste your time, to be honest with you.
Right. Yeah. Again, get yourself out. And then if at some point you're like, wow, I really am feeling a need to warn others, you can absolutely explore that.
Yes.
But step one is you got to get out. Yes. First, you got to get out. Well, I'm wondering, with that example you just gave, do you think in those kinds of scenarios, there is more of a collective empathy that is aimed in the wrong place, in the wrong direction? It's for the leader, because I hear that a lot, right? The leader's the victim. The person who's the perpetrator is actually the victim. Yeah. And I'm not saying that there is always a perpetrator and always a victim and always there isn't. I'm not saying that. But in these situations, it's like, oh my goodness, the poor leader. So is it an example of collective empathy being directed wrongly, or is there just a lack of it altogether?
Fear is kind of what comes to mind there. Okay. And we might be able to kind of answer this in a couple different ways. But fear of those dynamic leaders, of those people that have just done so much good disappearing, and then what do we have? This is part of where I think narcissistic systems tend to kind of try to interweave your identity with them. If you're being assimilated, then you go to such and such organization, or you volunteer here, or you work at this place. And so when that happens, you see a lot of fear of, well, we can't lose the Jane or John. We can't actually do the things to actually make the change. And so very often I think empathy sure is low, but it's more of a kind of understanding from the organization when you are bringing up concerns from the outside or in. There's a recognition of we may not make it without that person. So your concerns are minimized. It's not as big a deal as us losing our sense of self and leadership.
So there's a prioritization.
Yes. It's
Yeah.
very mercenary. It's very just
Mm.
just kind of this like efficiency. Your concerns are not as important as us having our aligned community and identity, and therefore kindly get out. We're not kindly.